would like to thank our amazing sponsors, Touring Plans Travel. Their destination specialists work with you to plan and book your trip, whether you're traveling to a theme park, headed out on a cruise, or wanting to get away anywhere in the world. As experts in smart travel, their agents suggest the best itineraries and activities to fit your family's needs, and handle all the reservations on your behalf. There is no cost to you or your family when using Touring Plans Travel services, and you may even save some money if discounts become available after booking. So head over to touringplans.com/travel and tell them Rope Drop Radio sent you. Now, on to the show.
Helping you navigate the Disney parks,
with the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.
You're listening to Rope Drop Radio.
Welcome to another Rope Drop Radio. Derek and Doug talking all things Disney with a little bit of the Starcruiser today because it is trip report time, Doug. One of my trips.
Derek spent about equal time in the parks as you did on the Starcruiser.
I did. So a little father-son trip. That is what we're going to be talking about on this week's episode with some of our listeners and some of our friends. And it was really great time. But we do first have to give a shout out to a new Patreon that we got. Lauren Homan. Thank you so much for joining the Rope Drop Radio community. I left some bonus shows on the Starcruiser. You got to hear what my friends who went with us, what they thought a little bit more about what we did in the parks. And so, yeah, we had some great times and love meeting up and talking to our Patreons. A lot of good feedback while I was there.
Yeah. You did a couple bonus shows for that churro level and above, and then you got an after show up for basically everybody that's a patron.
Yep. You hear Declan's review of it. You might, you get my review today, but nothing better than a 10-year-old's review.
10-year-old review is always important to hear from that perspective, and that's over on Patreon that you did while there. And let's talk about Apple Podcast reviews. We got a ton left the last couple days to make up for one very weird review with emojis. So
there's a 1-star emoji. Go look at it and then leave us a 5-star. Man, they have a vendetta against us for some reason.
Yeah, I must have angered them in a past life or this life. It's either possible.
Well, you're a dentist. I was just assuming it's one of your patients.
Everybody loves me, Derek. Everybody sits down, they say, I love going to the dentist. Anyway, I digress. Apple Podcast review. Leave us a review. 5 stars. We will read it on air eventually. We're up to March 15th, so we're cruising right along. All right. Enjoyable and useful in so many ways. 5 stars by JKJK.
Just kidding.
As someone, I think so. As someone who is pretty skilled at planning a Disney vacation, this podcast is both extremely valuable and amazingly entertaining. Derek and Doug are fun to listen to, are completely honest and relatable, and give very good advice. I'm fairly new to this show, but I'm glad I found it. Thank you for all the hard work. Well, thank you very much, Jay.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, keep leaving those reviews.
Thank you for the review. And speaking of hard work, you worked very hard for the listeners over the past week by spending some time in the park to get some firsthand experience, some first-time knowledge. So, but why? Why, Derek? Why did you go on this trip?
Well, one thing I learned last year, I took my daughter when she turned 10, and we went and stayed at the Polynesian, had a wonderful time. Go check out that trip literally 1 year ago today. And this was kind of, my son turned 10, and I really want to have those memories and moments. I do feel like if you can, every parent should try to have some one-on-one time with their kids and especially take them on a little vacation. And so my wife's like, hey, you did it with the daughter, let's do it with the son. But on top of that, we found out the Starcruiser was going out of business and turning into a Spirit Halloween or something. And so I wanted to make sure, and my wife wanted me to make sure that we got Declan on the Starcruiser. Yes, a month ago we went on it. Yes, it's expensive, but it's closing, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, so it was kind of a last minute sort of thing slapped together. You were planning on doing it next year, right?
Yep, we were definitely, I told him his 11th birthday, we were definitely going to do it. And we had to speed rush this one a little bit.
Yeah, 10 and a half, the perfect time.
Yep.
The perfect time. So that's why you went on the trip. So you had a couple nights before you got on the Starcruiser. Let's really dive into the Disney World side of things here. So where did you stay before you got on the Starcruiser? Did you go as deluxe as the Starcruiser is for your 2 days on Earth?
Absolutely not. I mean, yes, I took my daughter to the Polynesian, so I wanted my son to pick. I said, "What resort do you want to stay at?" He said, "All Star Sports," because that's his favorite resort. Because he is
Hmm,
weird.
hmm.
But his two favorite parks are Hollywood Studios and Epcot. And I said, "Hey, how about Pop? It's got annual pass discounts." And he goes, "Oh, it's got the Skyliner. We can stay there." So he really liked Pop because it has the Skyliner, and I really liked it because it was an annual pass discount.
Yeah, and with doing Epcot and Hollywood Studios almost exclusively in your day and a half before you got on the Starcruiser, I mean, it makes total sense, doesn't it? And
Absolutely, and
really,
it worked perfectly.
it's the closest resort to the Starcruiser as well. Like you leave it, you can't get there any faster than from Pop Century because getting to the Starcruiser is a little weird. It's an exit within an exit. So you
Yep.
have to be going the one direction on the one road, exiting to another to get to the Starcruiser, and the Pop Centuries right there. What was kind of a highlight of Pop Century? What do you think outside of the Starcruiser? What do you like the most about Pop Century, Derek?
You know what? It's bigger, but it's not Caribbean beach big.
Right.
So it really did only take me a couple minutes to get to the food court. And I do like that the buses are right there for Animal Kingdom, Magic Kingdom. You don't have multiple pickups like you do at Caribbean Beach. So Skyliner direct and then buses right there. And you know where you're at in line.
I think the point about the footprint of the resort's very valid. With people looking at values, I don't think you should be scared away by it being big at all. Like it's good size, but 5-10 minutes, you're to your room usually, or at least your building. You know, depending on what floor you're on. What floor were you on? Where were you at? Like what
Floor
area?
two in the 80s, actually right by the
Ooh,
Rubik's Cube where you and I stayed one time.
nice. The
I
80s.
could see
The
Roger Rabbit,
80s. Roger Rabbit. There's an icon if there ever was, right? So
the
Pop
icon.
Century. Did you happen to eat in the food court?
We did. I got breakfast there 2 days. They messed up my order one time, but that
No,
was okay. And
50-50.
I know it happens. And
Did you
but
want
it
the
was
eggs
overall
and
good.
bacon or the bacon and eggs?
Well, I ordered a to go order, and so they had the bag already, and I picked it up and took it back to my room, and it was not what I ordered. And I went back there, and she goes, "Derek Sassman," and I go, "Yep," and she goes, "Here's your correct order. I'm sorry, keep what we gave you before."
So what did they give you? I'm curious
A
now.
bunch of bagels, a bag full of bagels
did, did you get some cream cheese to go with it
and
or
cream cheese. And lesson
nice?
learned, look in the things. I just grabbed it and left. Look in there, make sure you got the right food.
And I'm guessing you got eggs and sausage and bacon and the whole
Absolutely. And a
bit. Yeah,
Mickey
that's your
waffle.
thing. Yeah, yeah, you're one
Got
of
to have a little
those.
protein.
Yeah. Bag of bagels. At least they weren't seagulls. But all right,
Wow.
moving. Yeah, I should move on now. The Pop Century, love it. The AP rates are
It's
fantastic, like you
growing on
said.
me. It was the lowest and slowly moving up.
You
I've
you
stayed there
hate on
4
me,
times, 4 trips now.
and it's almost always because of me. Because yeah, and you hate on me and my Pop Century love, but it hits the spot. All right. So with the Star Cruiser looming, and we know how much like it's busy, you're on your feet a lot, you're mentally engaged. So how much were you really planning on doing in your day and a half? Because you landed at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, right?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
how
And
go were you gonna be?
a little more than I probably should have been, but I really wanted Declan to lead the way. He's an annual pass holder. He knows the park. So I sat down with him. I'm like, man, you pick the rides and attractions that you want to do and the parks that you want to do. And so he really wanted to do a test track. It's his favorite ride. He wanted to do a ton of Star Wars stuff. So I knew we were going to have to figure out Epcot in the studios. And he wanted to do Fantasmic. And so when we landed, we went to the studios, did Star Tours, did Fantasmic. But the next day I said, "Hey, the only thing I'm going to ask you to do is you're going to have to rope drop test track." He goes, "I can do that." He's not really an early morning person, but he did great getting up. We rope drop test track and it started the day really well. We were able to knock out test track, mission space, and Guardians, boom, boom, boom. But I did push him a little harder than I probably should have. That is, we did take like the boat across Epcot to save some feet. We did go back
Okay.
to the room 2 times to help him out as well. But we did 30,000 steps before the
Whew.
Star Cruiser, and I do not recommend that at all.
So your first day, you get in. Did you have lightning lanes or individual lightning lanes booked
Nope,
to go
not
do
not at
things?
all. Nope. So just
Okay,
first day, the big thing was Fantasmic, and we were able to do Star Tours. We did Toy Story Midway Mania, and then went over and got a great spot for Fantasmic.
everybody enjoy Phantasmic.
Oh, it's so good. I enjoy it so much more than I keep. I enjoy it more than I think I do when I'm there.
Yeah. Do you
Like,
have a
yeah,
favorite
Mickey.
section? What's your favorite part?
Um, uh, uh, I like when he picks up the sword and all the stuff comes up.
Okay,
But I
the
love the
Roman candle,
endings.
basically.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love the ending with the
Okay.
loud boom and the
The
pop,
climax.
the climax. Yeah, it's great. So the whole thing, and I like that they do the montage instead of just Pocahontas now.
Yeah, I agree. It's
So I
better.
think that was
It's
a great
definitely improved.
addition, and it was packed. It was fully loaded. There's no seats left by like 8:40.
And then the next day was your full day. You
Yep,
did use some Genie Plus that day, correct?
we did. Yep. So we bought Guardians. We
Okay.
got Genie. I'm going to be honest. Genie Plus at $27. That is a hard pill to swallow. And I had to remind myself, Derek, you're an annual pass holder. It's
Oh,
just you
because
and
you
your
got the
son.
hopper.
I had the
Because you
hopper,
did Epcot and
Epcot and Studios. So
okay.
I let Declan pick our first lightning lane, and he wanted test track. He wanted to do it twice. So I said, fine, we will do that. And got test track. And
So
so
you
we
rope dropped and lightning laned it.
and lightning lane it. That way he
Okay.
can get his
That's how you
favorite
did
ride in
twice. You
twice.
can't do
Yep.
two lightning lanes, one attraction.
Correct. Yeah. Oh, there
Okay.
we go. That's
Yeah.
good. Good.
Yeah.
And
Just want
then
to get that out.
the best poll that I've had in a long time was my second one. I got Slinky Dog at 8:10 at night. So they're still available. That was a win.
Yeah. And it's so much nicer doing it for two people instead of five, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, so much so. Well, and we stacked, and we had one heck of a stack going into Hollywood Studios after our 5 o'clock break.
So you spent your morning, had lunch, took your break. And what time did you get to the studios?
So we did 2 trips to the studios. We took a break, at 1 o'clock, 1 to about 2:30, and then we went to the studios mostly because I wanna do the Darth Vader Visa booth, and I know it ends at
Okay.
4:30. So we
Yeah,
went to the
that's annoying.
studios, did Darth Vader, Star Tours, left again because, my friends flew into town, and we wanted to meet up with them for a little bit, and we went back into the studios at 7 o'clock with 4 lightning lanes ready, and Doug only giving me a 33% chance at getting it done.
You, first of all, you asked,
Yep,
kind of like, look at this, and I'm like, good luck. And the reason I put the odds so low on you accomplishing all of those attractions is because, like, let's be honest, Hollywood Studios is gonna Hollywood Studios, and what I mean by that is Hollywood Studios breaks
a
all the
lot.
dang time. So their ride down time stupid ridiculous, and especially towards the end of the night, I think they get to a point where they're like, we're just not turning it back on, right? So, but they
That's what I
all were
thought.
running for you. What all did
They
you do?
did.
Run us through it.
So 7:10 is when the lightning lanes start, and we did Rock and Roller Coaster, and then we had to book it 7:45 Millennium Falcon, and then we went over to Midway Mania, which started at like 7:50 or something like that, and got Midway Mania. That one was the one that slowed us down the most, and I
Oh
got a
yeah.
little worried. And then we got to Slinky Dog, which our lightning lane was from 8:10 to park close at 9. We get on Slinky Dog at about in time to get the lightning lane. But the best part of all that was we got off Slinky Dog at 8:52. And I'm looking on the app. Declan's like, is there anything else we can do? And I go, Rise is at 20 minutes. You want to try it out? And he goes, no, we're going to do on the Starcruiser. My legs are hurt. We should probably get going. I'm like, okay. We're just walking down it's long path out of Slinky Dog, and we get to the bottom right in front of Midway Mania. And Declan looks at me, turns, and he goes, let's go on Rise. And I'm like, it's 8:55. And he
You
just
have
starts
5 minutes to get
sprinting,
there.
and he sprints. And so I'm running behind him. We get in line at 8:58, walk right on. Walk right on. Like I just to my mind blown.
Nice.
Like, I was like, "There's no way this is gonna happen." Yeah,
When it works, it works. How about
it
that?
does, and so that
So
that works fantastic for us. I can't guarantee that's gonna happen all the time,
no, but
but it worked great for us then, and the walk right on Rise was such a win, and then we knew we were gonna get it again. So Declan's big thing is I wanna do a lot of Star Wars attractions. I can't even tell you how many times we did Star Tours. I know we did Millennium Falcon 4 times, a Rise twice. I mean, Darth Vader meetup. It just like that was his big thing, and then at the end of the night, we brought his lightsaber with us, and we did some we got some professional pictures done by some of the cast member photography cast members there, and then there's other little meetups happening in front of the Millennium Falcon. So Declan did some fun little sparring sessions with a couple of the dueling wield and some other guys there, so he had a lot of fun with that.
very cool. So that's a heck of a day. Good use of your Genie Plus. You gotta
Yep, you
this
got to
was
do it. It sucks
Test
that
Track.
oh
Was Test Track the only one you got in Epcot though, right?
yep,
Because you said you pulled Slinky with your second pull. And
yep,
so you set an alarm for basically every 2 hours, right? After you
absolutely.
pulled that Slinky, set your alarm for 2 hours, pull the
And I
next
do.
thing.
I set it 2 hours on the dot. And then I laugh because sometimes I forget why my alarm's going off. Why is oh yeah.
Nah, Derek would never forget that. All right, so let's ask an important question from Doug here.
Okay.
Derek struggles with feeding himself
I
and his
do.
children when he's at Disney World because he's so
It's my
excited to be at
wife's
Disney World.
number one fear when I take my kids to make sure they eat.
Did Declan get fed on this trip?
Oh, he ate. He ate well. His when we got there, he was hungry. We did backlot for him. You got to get that chicken nugget and fries. Backlot. I swear we
Day
go there
one,
day
you fly
one
in.
after the
Okay.
airplane. Nothing better than Backlot Express for
What
him.
did you have at Backlot?
I did not. I walked over to Woody's to
Hmm.
the second best counter service on property. I got their barbecue brisket sandwich and it was
Hmm.
fantastic. Oh my gosh,
Looked
it was
good.
good. Tasted amazing. If there was air conditioning and covering
Oh,
at that
like
restaurant, it
just
would be on par with
right.
Satuli's.
And maybe three cash registers instead of two.
Yeah.
Right? Like make it a real restaurant and it would have been
So
fantastic.
much better than that Roundup Rodeo
It
barbecue
had the
crap next
potential.
door.
Yeah. Had the potential. They just didn't finish the job in Toy Story
I know.
Land. So
Uh, the other
yeah,
the other
that's
thing we
good.
did
Two
was
places.
so I like when my daughter went to Epcot with me, she wanted to do something. She wanted to do something I'd never done. So we did Chefs de France last year. For
Hmm.
Declan, he said, "I want a steak, but I want a unique steak." And I was like, "Okay." And we're in Epcot, and I was like, "You know what? Tepanito. He's never been. He loves Japanese steakhouses. We have one we go to once a year here in town. So I took him to Tepanito. He liked it a lot. It was for me, but he ate a whole adult steak like it was nothing. And then he loved the salad, but he didn't like the noodles. He's wanting the
Oh.
fried rice. He ate all the white rice, but he really wants,
Hmm.
he loves the Shoguns, Kobe,
Fried
Benihana fried
rice.
rice. Yes.
Yeah, like they do that on the Royal Caribbean one hibachi. It's the fried
Yeah.
rice with all the
That's
egg in
so
it and
good.
everything.
And it's not
Yeah.
healthy at all. But he
No.
liked it. And it was a good memory for him and I to have. And so I'm really glad we got to go there.
Did you catch any shrimp in your mouth, Derek?
They don't flip shrimp there.
What?
Yeah,
Last
no
time I was
shrimp
there, they
flipping.
were.
Nope,
They were
didn't for
throwing
us.
shrimp the
They
last
didn't the
time I was
last
there.
2 times I've been there.
Maybe you're always with somebody with a shellfish allergy.
Actually, yeah, the person next to us did have a shellfish allergy.
Well, that's why there
That
wasn't shrimp
answers the
flying around.
question. Yeah, you know
Yeah,
what? That does happen. So,
yeah, yeah.
and
We
the other
had
place we did eat,
shrimp flip.
the other place we ate was down on Sunset. What is it? Rosie's,
The
all
All
like
American Cafe,
cafe.
Sunset
Yep.
Market. It's
So,
a
yep.
collection. Eddie's Cantina, I think, or
So we just
Catalina
got we
Eddie's.
split a big adult chicken fingers and fries. Hit the spot
So that was dinner when you went back into the park
when
on
we
night
back.
two.
Yep. Before
But you had your big lunch at Tepan.
Tepanito. Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's eating good in the neighborhood,
Hmm.
as they say at Applebee's.
So
You didn't
yes,
go
I
to
did feed
Applebee's. No.
Declan. Thank you for those who worry about that.
Any snacks along the way?
I got him ice cream, something I've actually
Oh
never done.
yes.
Main
Tell
Street
us about
ice
why
cream.
you got ice cream.
Oh, do we want to fast forward to that whole side of the
Let's go.
story?
Let's stay in the parks. Let's go
Yep.
to the end of the trip. You're off to Starcruiser.
Yep.
And you're getting ice cream? Why?
So he wanted to do one more thing. Well, I got passes to Magic Kingdom. We had about 2 hours roughly that we could go to the park after the Star Cruiser. Magic Kingdom, he one thing, Tron. He wants to do it again. I wake up at 7 a.m. I get individual lightning lane, $42. Did not enjoy spending that money either after the Star Cruiser, but you know what? It's for my boy. And so we go to Magic Kingdom and I looked, oh, it's down. Of course it's down. So we do People Mover and I'm watching the app the whole time, still down, still down. I'm like, okay. Then we go on the train. We take the train all the way around the park, still down, still down, still down. We only have about 30 minutes till we have to leave the park. He's a little bummed. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy you ice cream. It's 117 and a half degrees outside. I've actually never been to the ice cream parlor on Main Street, something weird I didn't realize I've never been to,
Yeah.
serving Eddie's ice cream. So I got him
It's
a nice
weird,
big
it's just
sundae.
Eddie's.
I know. So I got him a big sundae, and the cast member was fantastic. He goes, I would like a couple extra cherries. I love cherries. She poured so many cherries on that
Ugh.
ice cream that we had to put in a side bowl, and Declan ate all those cherries. So he's eating his
Oof.
ice cream, and he goes, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna have to get out of the park here. I'm gonna run to guest services, make sure I can get my refund. He goes, can we walk back there and just check it out? I'm like, you know what? We got I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. Let's just walk back, I guess. So we're walking back to Tron. It's not moving. It's not moving. We get to the sign, and all of a sudden, a group of people scream on the ride. And I look at him and he's like, let's go. And we both just started running up that little hill to Tron. We dinged in our lightning lane. No one's there. Walk right on the ride, get off the ride. Yay, amazing. My back's a little sore from that back brace, and we were able to get our pickup to the airport like literally right in time. So glad that there was no one there, and we must have hit it right when they reopened.
Nice. Good timing. What a way
That
to
was a
end a
win.
trip.
I know.
Right? Like getting to use your individual lightning lane and timed it just so you can walk basically all the way through.
And what was
And
weird is like you put the stuff in the lockers, all the lockers were lit up. I was like, oh, no one's
oh, that's
here.
weird.
I know.
It's like
There's like
they're
maybe
building
four
a
lockers that
place
were open. Yeah. Or not open. So it
not
was
open.
crazy.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Well, the park sounded fantastic. Nice and toasty in July.
Oh
This
gosh, it
was
was
like
hot.
what, your
I
third
forget
week at
how
Disney
hot
World
that
this
is.
summer?
Yes, it hurt. It hurt at times, not gonna lie. And then I have a redhead who burns easily, so I'm like, extra sunscreen on all
Could
of us.
could you hear him like sizzle at times? Like he's just cooking
Yes,
down there
yes.
like bacon?
Yeah, in Batu, I literally he shut down for a little bit, and thank you to our Star Cruiser staff who we literally pulled him aside and got him like cold compresses and water and cooled him off, and then we're able to go back at it. But he had
All right.
fans, like, he has a fan around his neck. He has 2
Yeah.
fans, 1 around his neck and 1 hanging down, so he'll have 2 fans on him at all times because he overheats and he dehydrates really easily, so that's my wife's other big concern, so I'm like we were at Tepanito, and I'm like, "No, you have to drink this water. We're not leaving till you drink this water," and, like, wherever we go, I'm like, "Water, drink it." "I don't want it." "You're drinking it."
That's good. What a good dad.
I
What a good
try.
dad. All right, let's jump to the Star Cruiser. Let's go.
Yay!
Let's talk about your new crew on the Star Cruiser
Yeah.
because you weren't with the FOWs this
Nope.
time or the rope
No
drop
effo just
crew.
sad.
Did you still fly the rope drop to the Star Cruiser?
I did. So,
Excellent. Did you
definitely had the
take your
patch on.
your flob so you can find it?
I did.
Excellent. Okay. Just making sure. So tell us about the new crew.
So, with the Star Cruiser being ridiculously expensive, I really was hoping to find some people that would help me with the cost of it. And also, I had some other friends who were really interested. We were trying to plan a guys' trip forever,
Hmm.
but my buddy Aaron Young, who's a former cast member, worked at Cape May Cafe. He'll be on the show sometime. He's a character. We got to get him on here. I think we've been saying that for a while too.
We
But
have for like
uh,
2 years.
I know. So Aaron's awesome. So it's just fun having he's a former cast member, a lot of fun. He was there for the food. He's not even a big Star Wars guy. He's a food local chef, culinary school. And the other guy, Matt Rogge, is a chef as well, but he's really big into Star Wars. So I have 2 chefs with me in my crew, and I don't know how much enjoyment I could have experienced watching them eat the food. Like they don't eat the food like you and I eat, but they're breaking it down. Like I bet this was fried before they boiled it and poached it, and like this, and like they're cutting things off differently. And I'm just like, I'm nom nom
You're
nom.
like, good, taste good, eat cookie,
Food, eat
right?
food, and it's fun. But no, I had a great time with those guys. I'm so glad that they came down with me. So they're a part of the new crew.
All right. So, how was your backstory with the additional crew? How did that play in? And with Declan, especially, what was the
Yes.
backstory there?
So this is so much fun. I wanted to keep the storyline going. So
Okay.
me from the Rope Drop crew, the story is my wife from Coruscant called me and said our son is starting to develop some force abilities and some things. And I had met Asaja and learned more about the force on the
Hmm.
Starcruiser.
Yeah.
So I was going to take him. So I left you. You had to go Dental Rancor and
Yeah.
Kent
I had stuff
and
taken care
Rhino.
of.
They're all
Yeah.
with you. And so I picked up these two guys that to help me be able to pay for the Star Cruiser literally, and then like to get there. And but here's the best part: the whole storyline revolved around one character being there, and that's Dax. He's the redheaded Saja. And I kept telling people online, I'm like, this is our storyline, but I really need him to be there. And all of a sudden, we're up getting ready for muster, and someone who's in line by us tapped me on the shoulder and goes, "Look." And there's the redheaded Saja Dax walking right towards me, and he walks right by Declan, and extroverted Derek stops him and goes, when I met you a month ago, I told you remind me of my son Declan. He goes, "Oh, I remember you because your crew kept calling me Declan." And I thought that
Yeah.
was weird because I'm Dex. And I go, "Well, I brought Declan here." And he gets down on one knee and starts talking to Declan. And like Declan's like, "Yeah," and he's kind of playing the game a little bit. He's like, "Yeah," because I'm like, "Declan, you gotta say you have I'm one with the force. Just mention you have force powers." And
Hmm.
my face hurt. I was smiling so like I was giggling like a little girl. Like the people around me were like, "Oh my god, I know, it's happening." It's like the whole storyline is coming true. It's just great because Dax and Declan look nearly identical. I put
That's
pictures up
crazy.
online. It's creepy. I have some questions for my wife, but it is awesome because he fell in love with Declan instantly, and just throughout the voyage just made sure he was involved. My son's an introvert, and Dax and the rest of the crew just did an incredible job bringing it out of him.
So, how was this Star Cruiser when you compare it to ours, the rope drop Star Cruiser from a month ago, or
So this one,
June?
well, the one we went on, I would say we're
Was
better
better, obviously,
better
because I was
actors.
there.
Definitely, you were there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we like
You had about
our
half the
Wraith
same cast.
half the Wraith. It's funny because a lot of people love the Wraith that was on this voyage with me. I
I
love the
know
Wraith that was
online
on,
people
yeah.
have.
But I love the rate that we had, especially when I did hold the
Ah, it was
smuggler thing, and
fantastic.
the Gaia from our voyage. I felt like was better because
Okay.
but there was nothing that could compare this group of people that went with us compared to the last one. Like these are Star Wars. Like I knew it was gonna be a good cruise when I ran into Matt, hashtag find Matt, the Mandalorian. He was working
Mhm.
security. I got there about 10 minutes later than you and I did.
Yeah.
And we were the first ones there. Now, 10 minutes later on this trip, I'm over 100 people back. Matt's like, we had a line of cars at 11. This is going to be a good one because everyone is dressed up before the Star Cruiser. Everyone's passing out things. Everyone's in character. Everyone's got a backstory. And I could only find two groups of people that this was their first voyage. Everyone else, two, three, four, multiple people with seven and eight. It's just like they were all in. And so this energy was so much more than our other two cruises. Like it was a different level, especially the finale. I was just blown away by the amazing people that were on my voyage. The cruise group, over 90 people. I think in ours it was
That's
like
crazy.
six.
Yeah. It was mostly us, right? And
It was.
like
So you could
maybe
tell right
5 other
away, like this
people.
is gonna be different.
Right, like half of our cruise was like, "Yeah, we booked this last week and then we bought plane tickets."
Yeah.
Right? So they didn't have costumes, they didn't have backstory. Where the people that booked last minute like you, yeah, I mean they had a month and a half to prepare obviously. And I think like August cruises are almost all full of the people that got canceled from the end of the year that
Yep.
moved back.
Mhm.
So July was kind of the sweet spot I think for some of the best cruise, but your cast. So, and you had a different Lieutenant Croy,
We
right?
did.
Where it
I
played it
actually
very
really like he
differently.
played it very differently. In fact, it's funny, all 3 Lieutenant Croys have been completely different, and I appreciate that and enjoy it quite a bit. This one kinda had this, like, Austin Powers Goldmember kinda thing to it, like, kept cracking me up, but he's like the original, I can't remember if he's the original Sammy or Lieutenant Croy, but he's one of the old school ones that came back for some voyages.
Interesting.
But it was good, like, he
Interesting.
wasn't as, like, he was more kinda aloof with it.
So, how did your new crew members do with the storyline part? Like, you're talking about Dax and Declan and that sort of stuff. How did they fit in? Like that first muster, what were they like? Were they kind of like, what did I sign up for?
Yeah, pretty much taking it all in. Both of them went in pretty blind with it. Like I said, Aaron's there for the food, so he didn't really do as much of the storyline or stuff on the phone or the missions. He was there to eat and to talk to the wait staff, and he played games with the other waiters and waitresses. He had a great time in that one. And Matt, he did the missions and played the game, and I know he really loved it too. But it was both of them very eye opening, and they definitely did an after show Patreon episode. They both loved it, but it is not what you expect. And for both of
No.
them, same thing. Is like we've seen pictures, we've seen videos. This was even more than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. And like, I think these full voyages towards the end, like, when we went that first time, when it first started, they made big deal about the group dance thing, which was basically a line dance. Like, that doesn't even, that's hardly a thing anymore compared
Yeah,
to,
I didn't
like,
even get to go to it.
they got away from that nonsense and now they're
Yeah.
more storyline orientated. So how about more about Declan on the cruiser coming out of his shell? What kind of activities did he get himself into? And were there lots of other kids?
This was probably the least amount of kids that I've seen. In fact, it was the least amount of kids between our other 2 voyages, which I thought was really nice. There were kids, but they're more tween ages. So,
Hmm.
Declan, like, I was really curious with him being an introvert, but I mean, right away when you have Asaja and you're trying to go the Jedi path and he looks like you, and then we had lightsaber training, right away on night 1, and
Oh, that's
the
probably
other
good.
Saja in there, I showed him the picture of Dax and Deck, and he started cracking up, like broke character, and he just started calling him Dax Junior or Mini Dax the whole time, and Declan was cracking up with that. So he then took Declan under. So Declan kind of got some even
Nice.
more lightsaber training, and he actually got an extra turn and got some special one-on-one time with the Saja. And like at the end, they had a one-on-one talking about the Force. And once again, my face is hurting. And so on night 1, I thought it was really fun. Dax found Declan. He's like, Declan, I need your help. And Declan's like, I'm in. You can say whatever. I'm going to do whatever. I like literally, we got to go kill a panda. Let's go. I'm going to follow you into the depths of wherever we have to
Just
go.
Rope Drop Radio does not endorse the killing of pandas. Okay, carry
No,
on.
not at all. So he goes, you're going to help me free Chewbacca. And Declan's like, I'm in because he loves Chewbacca. So we have 2 kids and one other adult. And then I'm just watching the whole thing with Dax helping free Chewbacca. They get Chewbacca out of the prison, of course, and put in the
You're
code.
definitely a good human shield for Chewbacca. You about the same size.
Oh, well, it's better because then we get shoulder tap moment. So it's
Mhm.
Dax, Chewbacca, Declan, another kid, an adult, me, and the other dad. And Dax is like, all right, Declan, how are we going to get Chewbacca out of here? We got to hide him. And Declan goes, I have a cloak. And he takes off his Jedi robe. And Dax is like, that's the best idea I've ever heard. He can hide behind you. And I'm like, my 10-year-old son is like miniature. And so here he is standing on his tippy toes, holding that Jedi robe as high as he can. And Chewbacca is doing a great job, like hands on Declan's shoulders, like weaving around. And they walk all the way upstairs. Like I am in tears laughing, walking behind Chewbacca. Like I can't even get a good picture of this because my phone is shaking so hard. Like I looked at the picture, I'm like, it's so blurry. And we get Chewbacca off the ship. The 2 kids cheer. Dax has this great moment. And it's like, Declan was all in at that point. He was having so much fun on night 1, and then he fell in love with Sabak. So that was the other thing. Like he is really, really, really good at math, better than I am, pretty much. So he fell in love with Sabak. He knows Sabak beforehand. I taught him. He probably put in a good 8 hours, probably a good four
Oh,
hours on the table, and maybe even a little bit more, 5, 6 on the table, and then he played in the tournament, and then had a couple other card games going. But man, like every time he was at the Sabak table, characters like the stormtroopers came and interrogated them. Like Sammy would come in, and it was just a lot of
Sandros.
fun. Sandro would come in,
Yeah.
and like they're all Lieutenant Croy's like looking over his cards and interacting with him. So all the characters just they see the kid and just kids in general, and they will have so much fun with you. And I think that for me as a dad was the by far and away the best part because like I'm a Star Wars fanatic, but now and my kids he loves it. We've watched all the movies, he watches the shows with me, he reads the books, but now it's taking it to a whole new level. And so just that interaction. And if we can continue on day two, he wanted to be a Jedi. And so we were getting him on the path to be a Jedi.
Nice. So day 2, you have a port day in
Yep.
Bat 2. Were you early risers to breakfast and then to port to beat the
Oh,
heat?
this rope drop radio. Of course, we were the first
Excellent.
transport
Did
out.
the whole crew transport out or just you and Declan?
Well, we all went together, and then Aaron and Matt forgot something. They disappeared. They're the second transport out. So we
Okay.
were the first, they're the second. Aaron and Matt cracked me up because Matt has never been to a theme park or Disney in his life. And
Oh,
Aaron used to be a cast member. So Aaron's like, since we already have lightning lanes for Rise of Millennium Falcon, I need to take you on my favorite ride, which is Rock and Roller Coaster. So they crossed the park and did Rockin' and Tower. While Declan and I, we rope dropped Millennium Falcon, walked right on, and
mhm.
then we did a group meetup for the Starcruiser people. We did our missions, and it was great because then Matt and Aaron contacted me, and so we met up and did Millennium Falcon with them with our lightning lanes. And watching Matt and Aaron fly was great. Also, I didn't say when we rope dropped it, we got a 9% on
A
flying Millennium
what?
Falcon. That's the newest
9?
low I've ever had. It was Declan and this little girl from London, her dad sitting next to me, and him and I were just yelling at our kids the whole time, and we were in tears. He is like the British version of me, and
Uh-oh.
I like this guy. I was like, I am in. And well, because it's funny because they chose Declan and I, hey, you can be pilots. And I look at this like she was 9-year-old little British girl, and I go, no, 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 you're the pilot. And he's like, oh, thank you. And I'm like, oh no, I've done this enough. This is gonna be more fun for me.
So you had no engineers, right?
No engineers.
That's why your score was 9. You hit
9%.
one
Well, and
thing,
we
points
hit
gone.
everything.
Yeah,
Everything was
if you're
hit.
wondering how to get a high score in Millennium Falcon, your engineers are the 2 most important people, which is usually
Absolutely.
the people that just, single rider, they just sit there and don't touch anything. So, um, that's cool. That's cool.
Yep.
So, and you did all your missions, you opened the crates, found the things, shipped
Well,
the
here's what's funny.
schematics.
So what's funny is him and I both started with the find the Jedi
Mhm.
artifact, and I was like, yes, we're on the right path. My app stopped working. Declan's
Oh.
we went all the way through, and it didn't say any like, you could see, like, the Saja, like, started writing to me, and then it stopped. It didn't say end transmission. It literally stopped mid-sentence. So I did all of, mocks and I went back and I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" They're like, Something's weird with your app." And, a little bit later, Saja's like, "Hey, you completed everything. You're gonna be in this secret meeting anyway." So I'm glad I got that, or else I was just gonna
Yeah.
follow Declan. But I made sure, like, I told Declan, you can answer all the questions however you want. You have full control, but I might help you on a couple things when it comes to the Jedi artifact if that is where we're going. And at that moment, I took his phone and I was like, do, make sure scan this, do this. Got it. All right, you can have your phone back.
Yeah. Yeah. Smart.
Yep.
Smart. Very smart. All right. So you did your missions on Batu, went back to the ship, played some sabacc. You had your bridge
Lost.
training, lost at sabacc. And
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
first round. It was terrible.
Jeez, Derek, you're an embarrassment to the patch.
I was. It was bad. I got destroyed. Yeah, bridge
By
training.
like a
That was
9-year-old or something, too? Or,
no. He was like 16, 17.
okay. I
Yeah.
knew it was a
Come on.
child. I just could
Yeah, it was
feel it.
still young. I mean, he's
Yeah.
bigger than me, but I'm
Well,
short.
that's kind of like they're one of those podcast Twitter accounts, but what podcasters do you look up to? Did you see my
All of them.
answer?
I did, yes.
We're short. All the
Yes.
podcasters. Except one, Derek. Lou Mangello. We don't look up to Lou Mangello.
No,
Anyway,
we're
I
oh, yeah, I've seen
digress.
him in the
We're
parks only
taller
one
than Lou.
time, but
Yeah, we're
we're
taller
all
than Lou.
right. We
Anyway,
don't be
so you're
friends.
back on the ship. Lunch in the parks. Did you do docking bay? Did
Yeah.
your friends do docking bay
Yes,
with
we
you?
met up for lunch at Docking Bay, and it was fantastic. We all got different meals.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I had some issues with the app, so I actually had to go in and talk to him.
Oh
And the
no.
reason why,
Talk to
no, it wasn't.
people?
I know. Well, here's funny, Derek. My son is not 9; he is 10, and I forget that Disney views that as an adult. And so there, I'm like,
Come
oh,
on,
I'm
man.
an idiot.
So you're trying to order a kid's meal when you could have
And it
gotten him an
wouldn't let me
adult
because it was
meal?
making me try to pay. And I was like, and so I went up there and they're like, yeah, he's got to, they're like, well, can I substitute a kid's meal for an adult meal? And they're like, we can make it work. And I'm like, all right.
Like,
So
it's silly if they don't
yeah,
because
it's
you're
just
the
all
one
weird in
losing
their
value.
system. And it's one of those ones where I'm glad I went up and talked to him about it because I could not figure it out I was getting frustrated. So,
He didn't
uh,
want the adult tip yet
he
or
got
the
tip,
rope?
yep. And I
The
got the
kids, huh? That kinda surprises
bantha
me.
and but dude, Aaron and Matt loved Docking Bay. They loved it
Yeah?
so much. And then we got
It is
I got
good.
8. It is great. I
It's
love the
just
food there. Just
expensive.
expensive. I got ADRs for us for Ogas because neither Matt or
Mhm.
Aaron had been there, and
See,
Declan hasn't
that
been there
makes
forever.
sense. On our cruise, where we've all been to Oga's multiple
Oh yeah.
times, right? It
Yep.
didn't make sense for us to spend some of our Starcruiser time at Oga's.
Well,
We're
and
gonna
we had
have a
more
drink,
fun
we could
going
have
back
it
on the
on
ship and
Starcruiser.
doing the taste around the galaxy, but yeah,
Oh, that
Oga's
was a
was great.
blast, yeah.
We got to sit down and we had
Oof.
Star Cruiser people sitting with us. So we got to interact
Oh,
with them.
fantastic.
We all got drinks. I put on our Patreon page and let our patrons pick my drink. So I
And
got
what did
jet
you have?
fuel and the
Mm.
jello shot. That jello shot was fantastic. So
Mm.
thank you. I got recommend. I had a bunch of patrons message me about the jello shot, like at least 5 or 6. So thank you guys. It was good. And I'm
I
going to
missed
definitely
the
get it again.
vote because I was busy
It
doing
happens.
teeth or something, and, I would have said the fuzzy tauntaun because I wanted your mouth to go numb just so I could
No,
giggle and laugh at your
there you
pain and
go.
suffering.
Well, and I got
Yeah.
Declan a carbon freeze, and he loved that. He's like, "Can I have another
Oh,
one?" I'm like,
that's
"No,
no, back to the
no."
ship with
Yeah,
free
back to
blue
the ship
milk.
we go. Yeah, and
So, back to the
what's
ship,
funny,
did you have second lunch?
we dessert. I just ran and got dessert. And what's funny is Aaron went back on the ship just to get the food because he wanted to try that food.
Mhm.
Rise went down, and so thankfully we got on it. And then when Aaron and Matt tried to get on it, they couldn't. It went back on at 2 o'clock. So I made Aaron and Matt go do Rise, and then we had bridge training at 3. So I was like,
Oof.
"Run, get back!" And they were able to do that. Bridge training, holy crud! Watching Declan do bridge training, that was an experience in itself.
Was
I
he
can see
good
where they're gonna
at
have to.
it,
I
or
don't know. Yeah, it's he pushes the buttons really hard. Like he is not like gentle like tap tap. He's like "Da, da, 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 da," shooting them all, and I'm like, oh my
it
gosh.
shoots the same whether you touch it nicely
I'm
or
well
not,
aware, but
right?
he is just like 10-year-old. Like I can see where they're gonna have some maintenance issues if they let too many 10-year-olds just like punch the buttons.
Maybe that's what it's shutting down for,
Maybe too
maintenance.
many
Yeah,
10-year-olds.
extended maintenance.
There you go. No, it's a extended dry dock. That's what they're calling it.
Yes, yes, it's definitely a dry it's always a dry dock because it's a spaceship, so could this
Extended
be a
dry dock.
land
That's what
dock?
we're calling it. You know what? It is what it is.
Okay. Yeah, we
Uh,
probably shouldn't worry too much about that. So, um, food on the ship. Let's talk about this real quick before we talk about the finale of your
yep,
paths. How was the meals? How did Declan? You keep mentioning your chef friends liked it, enjoyed it, looked
yep.
at it different. How did you and Declan like the food? How was the buffets? How were the dinners?
So one thing with Declan, I literally sat down with him and I said, "Hey, the Star Cruiser has weird looking food. You are a very picky eater. If you're going to go on this, you're going to have to try a little bit of everything." And he said, "I'm going to do that." And I'm like, You got to do it because I know you eat like 5 different foods." He did great. He loved the blue
Yeah.
shrimp, loved it,
Oh,
loved all the bantha, but he tried everything. So I'm very proud of him for doing that because he actually probably ate more unique foods than I did on this trip.
hmm.
Um, but man, those Bayo buns. He didn't like the Bayo buns. Oh, I
What?
smashed some Bayo buns. Those things are fantastic. Hashtag
Those
bring
are
back the
good.
Bayo buns. How are they so good?
There's what I get two of the bail. Are there four bail buns or three?
There's 3:
Okay,
veggie,
I
tip
couldn't.
yip, and bantha.
The bantha one is so good.
Oh, it's so good. Seriously,
Yeah,
bring
and
that. If you're
that's the
listening,
only
just bring
one I
that to
get.
Galaxy's
Yeah.
Edge. Just the buns. I
Ooh,
will
you
keep
know
you
what? They could
going.
throw that with Ronto's roasters.
Absolutely. Please. Oh,
Oh.
so good. Also, found something out about my son that I don't know if I should say on air, but
Oh, okay.
he likes blue milk. He likes it a lot. He drank like 5 glasses, maybe
I think you
6.
should probably edit this out for
Nope, it's
just
for
now.
Wes.
Oh my
Wes,
gosh,
it's on you,
really?
man. Yeah, he did, he loved it.
Oh, no. Now you're gonna have to buy it when you're in the park, Derek.
No, I'm definitely not doing that. No. Nope,
Did
he
he
gets it.
mix it with green or anything like that? Did he ever try
Nope,
any
but
of that
he drank them
nonsense?
both separate, and, he liked them both.
Oof.
So, good, I guess.
Ugh.
I told him he had to try it, and he did that, and then he enjoyed it.
Okay.
So, maybe
Yeah,
he's
well,
learning and his palate will expand, and so he'll eat more
no,
foods here at home.
he can drink melted crayons now. So
Yes, it's rice milk, by the way, I found
yeah,
out.
it's all vegan.
I didn't know
So
what it was. We actually well, it's the funniest thing about, like, having Aaron and Matt there. Aaron has no problem talking to, like, getting you out of, like, character to actually talk to him about the food. So, good job, I learned things.
all right, all right. So food was a win.
Yep.
Did Declan try my favorite lunch offering of the waffle grilled cheese with the tomato soup?
Yes, he did.
Excellent.
He
And what
liked the
was his
waffle
review
grilled
of that?
cheese, he didn't like the tomato soup.
I'll take the half a win. It's my
There you go.
favorite.
It was good.
Okay. Yeah, carrying on. That was not an
No, I love
important
the
question. I
breakfast. They
just
have the
wanted to know.
potato, bacon, egg thing. I was like, "I want
That
that."
is good. And like is that the one that's round
Yeah.
or it's like stacked up
Yes, it's
kind of
stacked
like
up. It's
yeah,
fantastic.
that is really good. And then they have the little waffle too.
Yep.
The logo waffle. Like that's all I need.
That's all my
Yeah.
breakfast needs to be. I
Their
don't eat big
their food
breakfasts.
is solid.
It is.
Um
It's so good. And you know what? Guy's performance, they really liked. We watched the whole thing. And night two, the eating around the galaxy, a lot of fun. Um, and I mean, Declan even tried like the Mustafar cheese. He didn't like it, but he tried it.
yeah. I the cheese is good. It's the various crackery breads they give
Yeah,
you that are
they need
weird.
softer breads.
They need just give me some Tostitos. I want some
Some
Tostitos for
sourdough.
that.
I just want sourdough bread.
Oh, that would be really good in
Love
there
me a
too.
sourdough.
That cheese is really good. All right, let's get to it. The finale. What secret meetings did you go to and how did you save the galaxy?
Okay, so first secret, not secret meeting, we
This is
actually got on the
spoiler
bridge. Yeah,
territory.
spoilers. I mean, yeah. So we got on the bridge and kind of got the resistance. We helped Chewbacca get on the ship, which actually answered a plot hole that I was always wondering, like, how does Chewbacca get back on the ship? We shot all the TIE fighters.
Yeah, because we see
We
Chewbacca flying around on our first voyage.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got Chewbacca back on the ship, and I'm like, oh, so we got him off the ship day one. We got him back on the ship day two. So
Nice. That
Chewbacca's there. We shot a bunch of Tie fighters. That is so much fun. That is
and that was
the
in your bridge training.
in my no, and not in the training in the the
Oh,
secret
and you're saying
second bridge.
that's kind of cool. You got three different bridge trainings, and then you got multiple different like meetup bridge trainings.
Well, and that's
Like
what
you
I
kind of saw
really
most
like.
of them.
Well, and what's so fascinating and what Starcruiser does so well is they have different story and plot elements that you get. And so like when we went and had bridge training day 1 last time, we saw this Sammy mock kind of situation where they're fighting over he has to bolt SK. And I was like, "Oh, that
Yeah,
makes so much sense," because I was kind of
yeah, that
mad at
made
Sammy.
sense.
Now I'm like, "Oh,
Like
he's doing it before like she's telling him to do it." And so I'm
yeah,
like, "Oh, you get so many different story beats by going multiple times and seeing different things at different times." So yeah, having bridge training day 1 versus day 2 can be completely different
hmm
storylines. And then I do love that you get that second bridge, blow up things and save things, and that
yeah.
one was fantastic as well.
That's just shoot stuff, blow stuff up time.
Well, and the other one, so when I went with you, it was help Wraith get the coaxium, and
hmm
so Wraith was that leading that one. So I've had different storylines for that bridge, but the big storyline, Doug, did we go Jedi? I've never
Yes.
done the Jedi path. I've been a smuggler. I've been resistance. I've helped Chewbacca do a bajillion things. No, we got to go Jedi. And so we go downstairs. Ray's there. We have interactions with Ray. She pulls us into the room and Ray and Declan have some awesome one-on-one time. Once again, giggling Derek is just like, oh, she's talking to Declan. What do you feel? I feel something. Yeah, it's the Force, buddy. And so, like, I am just loving that. And then that holocron moment. What is that Disney magic that thing? No
It
wonder the thing
is.
cost $1 billion. I have no idea. That was the thing. I was like, I got to do this before it closes. I want to see the Yoda holocron. I have to. You got to see it on the trip,
It was
and it
fantastic.
did not disappoint. Wow, what? And like the greatest thing is that you have a Saja in there who already loves Declan. And so they
Mhm.
make sure Declan's involved talking. He gets the one-on-one time with Ray. Uh, Perfect. Perfection. Couldn't have been any better.
That is the thing I was most worried about. Like, I devoted my whole last Starcruiser to making sure I saw that. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
if this just looks like somebody shined a flashlight over a gel of yellow of green onto the ceiling, I'm gonna be very mad. But it's like magic.
It was
Now,
pure
granted, the
perfect.
one guy that was on our last Starcruiser, that's the tech dude, tried to
Yeah.
explain it all to me. I'm
I
like,
didn't.
stop.
Yep.
Stop talking. I'm not listening. Stop. Blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hear how you're going to ruin the magic for me.
Yep.
Even though your baby's not a droid, it's just a baby in a hoodie. But
That did.
there's
Yep.
no babies in a hoodie on your cruise.
Actually, there was a
Oh, good.
little, but probably about 3-year-old dressed up like BB-8, and they did the same. Is it a droid or is it a kid? We don't know. And I love that little back and forth that they had. Like
Yeah.
the cast, these are not only like the cast member, like the actors are phenomenal. Yes, I'll use that
Hmm.
word. They are the best of the best. We had so many interactions with the blue shirt cast members. A number of them remembered me,
Yeah.
and
Because
from
you're
our other
memorable,
voyage. I
Derek
guess
James.
so. And so we had a lot of times. One of them was a redhead, Charles, and he had a lot of interactions with Declan. Probably one of the best cast members I've ever been a part of as well. And just like they go above and beyond constantly. If they see you sitting by yourself, someone's going to come check on you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a place for your alone time if you're out in public. Um, did anybody say FOW to you, or did you say it to
Yes,
anyone?
we did have one. So Michaela was there, and she was the only one that knew about the FOW. And I texted
Okay.
with Kent a little bit, and he was happy because she was there for night one. Oh, and the best chemist bartender was
Yeah.
there, Laura. So she wore her
Hmm.
rope drop radio patch, so
Yes.
representing. So I mean. It was awesome. These cast and crew, they get gifts from everyone. And the fact that they hold on to these gifts and then bring them back and like, what? Like you brought the patch back with you because I'm on this voyage? Get out of here. I was actually annoyed because she wasn't there day two or in the evening. I was gonna give her
Ah,
even big. I gave her a tip, but I want to give her a bigger. I want to give one more pod chaser and give her a big tip too on that as well. But she had, I think her shift was over early.
nuts. Enough pod chasers though in the old sublight
Three,
lounge.
three pod
Sounds
chasers.
good for a
Yep,
2 night voyage. It's pretty
yep.
solid work.
That's that. There you go. That is. And then I got the IPA, and I regretted that one.
So, did your new crew members know what was gonna happen when the um poo hit the proverbial fan and
No.
the
So
alarms
what's
go off?
really funny is like Aaron's like, I'm done. And he was like, I'm just gonna stay in the room. I'm like, no, when you hear the you need to come. And it was about 10 minutes before it started happening. And I was in the room and I was like, just let's go now. Let's get a spot. It's gonna happen soon. Fun. He goes up there and I made sure the big thing was I know where I wanted Declan to stand. So I wanted to kind of made sure I
Hmm.
had that locked and loaded for him. And so and I told Declan, I'm like, when you hear the you come to this spot, I will be there too. So he gets there and Matt and Aaron, and like there is so much more energy with this finale than our voyage and the voyage before. I was shocked. Like there is cheering, there is chanting, it was it was great. And there wasn't a ton of phones out, which I appreciate too. Like a lot of people were
Hmm.
just
People
enjoying the
just in the
moment for what
moment.
it is.
Nice.
And it just wow, that lightsaber lit up and Declan's like, "What? A real lightsaber?" Like, and he was all in and he is yelling and cheering. And you got that moment when Sammy reveals himself and Aaron actually started a Sammy chant and they actually had to stop because everyone was cheering for Sammy so much. It was just, it was probably the best finale of the ones we've had.
Nice.
I had the best seat. So I found the perfect place to sit.
Took you 3 voyages, but
Yep.
you got there. We were
Got to where
so
I wanted
close
there.
on our last one. We thought we had figured it out, and then they made that little change where they keep the pathway open. And then we're
Mhm.
like, "Ah, we're over the other side of the
On the
bench."
other side, yeah, so on the other
Yeah,
side, the kinda corner seat, but, like, Ray's effect of being choked and pulled and seeing the sparks is just, like, talking to Declan and even our other crews, just like, that was the most incredible thing they've seen. They're like, "It's like a real life movie looking
right.
around," and I'm just like, "That's the Starcruiser!"
With practical effects and
Yes.
everything.
It's so hard to explain until like, and video doesn't do it justice. The
No.
energy and the people around you cheering and yelling and it just is fantastic.
Alright. And then fireworks and ice cream.
Fireworks and ice cream. So it was, and then the best part of any voyage I've ever had. So one thing I like to do is I like to go to the sublight and after everything, after the ice cream and talk to people. I almost didn't do it because Declan was feeling a little tired. I was exhausted, and he goes, "I want to try some more sabak," and I'm like, "Okay, I do want to go up there." I go up there, I get a drink, and he plays sabak. And I've never seen the sublight lounge as full as it was. I took a great video. Every seat, standing room only, but wow, these are all people who've been two, three, four, five, six cruises. We are all laughing and crying and sharing stories and talking about the cast and cast compliments and sharing our love for Star Wars. This is one of the highlights, like core memory. Yeah, I'm actually sad you weren't there and my FOW crew wasn't there for this
Ah,
because this was magic. And I'm meeting some incredible people. Hopefully, some of them are actually listening to this podcast.
hopefully.
You guys are all
He gave out
amazing.
some cards.
I gave out some the couple patches and a couple things that I had, but not gonna lie, I forgot to actually. You get caught up in the moment, you kind of
Yeah,
forget
you're in
about
the
some
story.
things.
You're in the movie.
So, but that was such a highlight, and I'm glad that Declan talked me into it. He got to play a little bit more sabak, and that was it. That we closed her down, and went to bed.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up there. And I have some more questions for you for the after show
Ooh,
that I
yay!
have
So if
about
you
the
want to
Star
get that, you're
Cruiser.
gonna have to
So,
check out our Patreon link. And I know some
and
of our
then,
Patreons may have had questions, but yeah, this
yes,
overall, I cannot recommend more. If you have an opportunity to have a one-on-one time Disney trip, don't have to be a Star Cruiser, do it with your kid. And I feel like 10-year-old is a really great age to do that.
that's when I did it with Alden. A 10-year-old birthday, on his
Yeah.
birthday, 10-year-old trip. It was fantastic. I loved it. Just me and him.
All
So,
right. And if Yeah. And now, if you want to book a trip with one of your kids or your spouse or your family, you just want to go. So, we have a new link,
mhm.
touringplans.com/rope drop. It'll be in the show notes. Check it out. You can book a trip, have a magical vacation. Sorry, you can't book the Star Cruiser. I wish you could because, Doug, this would be an every year thing for us. No
I
question.
possibly. So definitely go through that link if you want to book a trip with touringplans.com/rope drop.
There you go. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Be sure to follow us at Rope Drop Radio on all the things. And of course, that Patreon episode will be coming up next. And so, thank you guys so much for all your encouragement, fun. I had a great time. Declan had a great time, and it was awesome. So, there you go. Thank you guys so much for listening to Rope Drop Radio.